Misha, welcome to Two Brain Radio.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this, and we're going to dive right in. So, I wanted to start by asking you, as a life coach, what do you think everybody wants from life?
I think this is the most interesting and popular question I get from my clients and from everyone else. And I prefer to give a long answer. And, the answer is what I call the new Fermi paradox. So, you know the old Fermi paradox, probably, right? So the Fermi, he's a scientist, and this idea he was discussing with his buddies, and at some point they started discussing aliens. And Fermi asked, "Okay, if aliens exist, where are they? Basically, if life exists beyond our planet, where is it? Why we don't see it?" The new Fermi paradox is similar in its paradoxical ways, but it's not similar, obviously, in a scientific approach, of course. So the Fermi is an abbreviation. And when my clients come to me, they say, look, I want to have more money in my life. I want to have a better or a new partner. I want to create something really meaningful in my life. So when everyone comes to me, they come for 5 things, and I call them Fermi. F, they come for the flow. And flow is an experience of optimal feeling of engagement in the moment. For example, if you surf or if you play any game, I'm pretty sure you experienced flow in your life. But to be exact, the way we prefer to describe the experience of being in the flow is when you stop feeling yourself, when you cannot or when you don't think about time. So senseless or egoless and timeless. We think about flow when whatever you do is not taking too much effort, so effortless. And finally, it's when you are in this experience, you are actually overwhelmed by data, and you cannot process this data if you will be in controlled focus attention. So first, when my clients come, they say, look, I want to do something that creates this experience of flow. So this is F. E is engagement. They want to be socially engaged. We know that there is a huge correlation between feeling depressed and feeling lonely. So for everyone to have a full life, you need to have enough people around you, enough people that you love, enough people that you care about, and enough people that care about you. So that's the E from Fermi. R is relaxation or being relaxed. And life does not make sense if there is not enough positive experience in your life. If you don't have or you do not live and your family doesn't live in comfort, in safety, if your stomach is empty, and if every day you feel afraid, like the life doesn't make sense. And in order to be relaxed, you got to be full, rested, and you got to have enough pleasure in your life. So that's the R. The M is meaning. You need to have meaning in your life. You need to work on something that is bigger than you. You need to have a bigger purpose. So that's M. And the final letter is I. And I, you would want to have an ideal picture life, meaning that you need some level of material success in your life. So that's the Fermi. Now, where the paradox is coming from? In fact, people do not want Fermi. They just want to feel better. You don't want to have a better partner. You want to feel better. You don't want to have more money. You want to feel better. You don't want to be successful in your life. You want to feel better. You don't need safety. You want to feel better. So the paradox comes not from attaining the fermi in your life, but actually from your emotional state. And the great illusion is that we think that by attaining all those things, suddenly we will start feeling better. And partially this is true. Circumstances, for sure, can influence your life. But it's your mind that creates your human experience. And you can think about the same circumstances from two different angles and you will feel differently. So this is about perception. So answering your question, everyone wants fermi, but what I give people as a life coach, I give them experience and I elevate the quality of their human experience. So when they change their perception, suddenly all things become easier in their life. And I think it's also important here to explain how like my background and how I got into life coaching in the first place, I think.
Yeah, please.
So I got into psychology when I was around 12 years old, and I was dealing with constant anxiety and feeling of fear. And at that time, psychology and psychotherapists, they were not very popular, especially in my country. I'm coming from Eastern Europe. I'm Jewish Ukrainian. I live in Canada now. Like many Europeans, I speak many languages, but I work in 3 languages. So, and I was self-helping. I was studying a lot. I was reading many books. And eventually I got so interested in the field of psychology and psychotherapy that I got my first license as a psychotherapist by the age of 15. And I wrote my first book about correlation between assertiveness and status when I was 18. And by the age of 35, I have created my own modality, psychotherapeutic and life coaching modality that is called metacognitive programming. You know about that. Yeah. So coming back to the Fermi paradox, the most interesting question about Fermi paradox is, okay, but how do you know that you can actually achieve Fermi in your life? You can achieve flow, engagement, meaning, relaxation and ideal picture life. How do you know that you have what it takes? How do you know that this is the moment for you to hire a life coach? And we discussed that before, and I want to share that with your audience as well. The way you know that is when you feel what I call emergence, present, future gap. So this is a mouthful. Let's take it one by one, right? So what is emergence? Emergence is the term that comes from the fields of biology and physics. And if I can explain emergence in a simpler or common language, so emergence is the idea how stupid things become smart. For example, if you think about a honeybee or an ant, if you look at the ant, this creature is very, very simple. It doesn't have a lot of brains. Its life on its own is pretty meaningless. Okay. However, together with hundreds of thousands of other ants, they create what is called mega colonies. And mega colony of ants is one of the most complex and sophisticated things in the world. And this is emergence, when simple things create together something very, very sophisticated. As human beings, we are, examples of emergence as well, because we all consist of millions of cells. And cells separately, they are very simple, easy to understand, but together, wow, this is really, really hard. And the same goes to energy and thermodynamics and universe, and pretty much we can see emergence everywhere. So now I was studying emergence for many years in different fields, and I extrapolated the idea of emergence into psychology. So what is present-future gap as emergence in psychology? Normally or generally, I work with clients who, when they come, they say, look, I feel utterly unrealized in my life. And they say, sometimes I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I think, wow, I thought that by this time you should have been way ahead. And that's pretty much the story of every client I have. So what is actually happening is that everyone at some point in their lives, they feel that they are created, they're meant for more. And this is the moment of emergence. This is how incredibly sophisticated, DNA tells them that, hey, you know what? It seems we have power and energy to get what we want. We have enough resources to get you to Fermi. So that's the idea that in present, you are not fully satisfied and happy with your life. And somewhere from within, there is a voice, let's call it a melody of life or a melody of your soul or your DNA that tells you, it seems we have a resource to achieve more. Let's do it. You need to find help. You need to find resources. You need to find connections. You need to find actions to make it happen. And when there is a gap, I know that I can take the client from the present to Fermi.
So what exactly is that gap? Is it the feeling that I can do more, but I don't know how?
Yes, it's a feeling of being unrealized. It is a feeling of your life being meaningless and useless. But at the same time, there is a fire of interest in you. And it's not that you think that life is useless and you feel depressed and you want to commit suicide. It's a different story. This story is about, I want to find a way. I'm pretty sure there is a way. It's just not available to me now. And I think I can do it once I'm clear about what to do.
Okay, so when you're in this gap, do you have dreams about what you could become, or are you thinking more of these, Fermi goals as concrete goals?
Yes. Okay. Awesome. So let's talk about dreams versus goals. So when I work with clients, I specify for them and explain what is the difference between dreams and goals. Dream is something that is pretty much impossible for you. And someone needs to wave a magic wand to make it happen. So when you are dreaming, it's not about you, it's about cooperation and collaboration from the universe to make it possible for you. So, and here we are in the field of esoterics, but basically dreaming is a good exercise because when you truly believe in something for yourself, it's not a dream anymore, it's a goal. But when you think, okay, I wish that to happen to me, but I'm not going to do anything for that to happen. And I hope that one day maybe it happens. That's a dream. And the criteria of any dream is that there is no resistance for you for the dream to happen. What it means that you do not actively wish for that dream to come true because you truly believe it is impossible. So you don't think that it's important to think about the dream every day. Now, if you think about a goal and you believe that this is something you need to do, suddenly it's not a dream anymore, but it is an outline of steps for you, for yourself, right? So when clients come to me, I say, we're not gonna dream here. We want to come closer to goals. And then I explain them that there is a difference between desired goals and non-desired goals.
Maybe you should tell us the difference there then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when there is something you desire, let's say, you are in a fitness space, and let's say I desire, by the way, it's true. For many years, I want to put probably 10 kilos of muscle. Okay, never worked for me, but I'm still dreaming about it. Okay, so I want that to happen. Now, for me, it is a non-desired goal. And here is why. When I think about myself having this muscular, chiseled body, of course, I'm excited. Of course, I want to look at myself in the mirror. Of course, probably my wife will be seriously impressed. Might be, not sure about that, but she might be very impressed. I will be impressed by myself for sure. But I don't want to do anything to happen. I actually hate training. I don't want to exercise. It's the worst experience of my life. Okay, if every day I need to go to gym, or if every day I need to do something like resistance training or any other type of training, oh geez, it's so hard. So a desired goal is the goal where you do not like the process. And it means that you need a power of will to get to this goal. Now, for things like lose 50 pounds of fat, let's say, and if the goal is non-desired, it's a dream. Okay? So it's pretty much impossible. There are very few people who can do it. And you do need a lot of mental power to make it happen. Now, let's take another example. I need to exercise, I understand it. I'm dumb enough, but not that dumb, right? So I'm thinking, okay, what can I do to introduce an exercise to my life so it becomes a desirable goal? And one of the things that I love is playing tennis. Now, my goal is to become one day sort of like semi-pro in tennis. Now, I'm not even close. It will take me probably like 20 years to get to semi-pro level. Now, I enjoy at the same time playing tennis every day. Time goes really fast. I'm in a flow. I love it. I enjoy it. I can do it every day. Suddenly, this is a goal because I enjoy the everyday process. So one of the things that every good life coach has to do for her clients or his clients is to turn dreams into goals and non-desired goals into desired outcomes.
That is very interesting, and I don't want to take us off track here, but you're talking to fitness coaches, and most of our clients have these dreams of losing 20 or 30 pounds, but they don't really want to do the exercise.
Yes.
Is there a way that we can help them overcome that?
Yeah, they don't want to do the exercise. They don't want to fast, right? Or, to reduce the amount of calories they're taking, all of that. They don't want to work with emotional overeating. They just want to wake up one day in a better shape. That's pretty much it. So I will share an example from my practice, actually. And in this practice, I was a client, not a coach. So basically, if you believe in life coaching and psychotherapy, you do hire life coaches and psychotherapists for yourself. Otherwise, it is not fair. Otherwise, you're not taking your own product. You are not using the product you're selling to other people, right? So I have a fitness coach, and his name is Jerzy Grigorik. And it is Naval Ravikant who introduced me to Jerzy. And Jerzy is an incredible human being. He's a poet, and he's also a fitness coach. He's also, I think he's in a Guinness Book of Records for Olympic weightlifting. I don't exactly remember what exactly he has done there, but I know that he's a powerhouse. So when he started working with me, and what Jerzy requires you to do is actually to follow a set regimen for every day. Now, for someone like myself, this is incredibly hard. And I'm telling him, look, I don't want to exercise. It sucks. And he asked me, so what do you do? Like in every morning, what do you do? And I was like, I meditate. Now, how do you meditate? Do you like meditation? I'm like, yeah, I sit still and I focus, and this is how I meditate. He's like, have you heard of dynamic meditation? I'm like, of course I heard of dynamic meditation. I've done many of them. Do you like dynamic meditations? Yes, I do. He's like, you know what? My set of exercises is a dynamic meditation. So in this moment, what he's doing to me, and this is what we do in metacognitive programming all the time, he changed my thinking. He moved me from current thinking to intentional thinking or to future thinking. And when he changed this mental paradigm, suddenly it has become easy. I don't exercise, I meditate. Now, when I meditate, it happens so that my body gets stronger. And it seems that at some point of my life, I will be an Olympic weightlifter. Okay, so this is an example of someone moving you from non-desired outcome to a desired outcome.
Yeah, that's such a great example, Misha. Thank you. Okay, good. So I pulled you off track there, but please continue.
Yeah, so once you understand the difference between goals, you also understand what life coaching is about. Life coaching is about helping someone creating a life that is worth living. This is what life coaching is about. We work with functional clients who, on the scale of fermi, maybe they have flow sometimes, maybe they have meaning sometimes, but obviously in those letters, they're not performing really well. And we help them get there. But at the same time, MCP, metacognitive programming, is not only for life coaches, it is also for psychotherapists. So the way we differentiate between therapy and life coaching, and this is how we explain that to our clients, and we train therapists and life coaches, and the training is the same. It is just the stage of life that is different. So you need a therapist, you need a psychotherapist, and we train MCP therapists or MCP life coaches and MCP life coaches. So the way you understand you need a therapist is when your life is in crumbles. So you need to stabilize first, because there is no life worth living if you're not stabilized. Now, what does it mean to stabilize? If you completely lonely and you don't have any relationships, even like not one, it means that you're not stable. If you don't have any way to support yourself financially, it means that you're not stable. If you are low, or if your everyday experience is negative emotions only, you're depressed, you're anxious, you are grieving, you are trying to survive, you need to stabilize. And for stabilization, you need a psychotherapist. Okay? Now, once you're stabilized, before you can start creating big things in your life, before you will hire a life coach, you still need to make one more step. And this step we call clarity. So for clarity, what it means to be clear, you see, everyone has a big baggage from our previous lives. Someone was victimized, someone experienced a lot of traumas, someone had a good life, but still has a lot of limiting beliefs about the world. And, whatever this person see is distorted by those beliefs. And we need a psychotherapist to clear it for you, to help you clear it for yourself, until you're completely clear and completely present in the moment now. Once that happened, and this feels so big in life. It's this moment of clarity is unbelievable. It's like being born again. Now, once that happened to you, okay, suddenly you need a life coach. Because the next step is creating new identity. When we say creating new identity, it's not about trying to become someone else. There is a popular word in psychology, in motivation and self-help, is transformation. We don't use transformation because we don't want to turn triangles into circles and circles, into pyramids. It doesn't make sense at all. It's just really bad idea, because we as psychologists, as life coaches, we believe in what is called biological determination. We think that you are born complete, you're just confused. And you don't need to try to become someone else. You need just to find what is your own emergency and emergence as well. So emergency is about what you need to do now. Emergence is about who you can become. Okay? So, and that's the third stage, when you suddenly reinvent yourself to find who you've always been. And this is the moment when your mind becomes calm, tranquil, and unstoppable. And after that, there is a final stage, it's the fourth stage. And you need to be in our system, you need to be a master coach to be able to bring someone to the fourth stage. And the fourth stage is called alchemy. And this is, so backstory. One of my personal heroes is Carl Gustav Jung. Famous psychologist, and at some point they were friends with Freud, and they were friends for 4 years, but then their values set them apart, and Jung went ahead to create incredible amount of things in his life. And what is special about Carl Jung is that he was a medical doctor, psychiatrist, and scientist. And also he was incredibly religious, but not religious in a way that he believed in Christianity only, or in Quran, or in Buddhism. He was what we currently, like nowadays, call spiritual. Okay. And he was able to unite the idea of alchemy with science, because basically alchemy is the inner science. And he was able to unite those two things. And the state of alchemy is when you can move things from formless to form. When you see something that is presently not manifested, and you actually manifest that into reality. Now, I don't want to use this like new age language, because I actually get irritated by those definitions. So I prefer to be more on the on the science part of it, based on observation, based on scientific criteria, etc. But what I strongly believe is that every great scientist in the history of humanity was an alchemist. If you think about Einstein, if we think about Maxwell, if we think about Darwin, everything they have created was, before them, was non-existent. It was formless, and they were able to manifest that into the form, new symbols and new knowledge.
So where does metacognitive programming fit into all of this?
Okay, perfect question and perfect segue into that.
Thanks.
So what is metacognitive programming? We believe that you cannot directly affect humans' behavior. That's the reason why common sense and advice doesn't work. Like, you cannot give an advice and expect that this advice will be followed. I know that many people still try to give others advice. Doesn't really work, especially if it is not asked for. Right? But the way we change behavior is by modifying the emotion. And the way we modify the emotion is by changing the thought process. So let's explain the first part and then move to the thought processes after. There are only two types of emotions. It is either the emotion of approach, for example, love, or wonder, like surprise, or looking for surprise, like joy, and even sadness. These are emotions that create this certain chemistry in your body that makes you come closer to the object. So a good example is Pavlovian, behavioral theory. He would ring a bell, the dog will start salivating and will come to the bell. Okay, why? The chemistry will be dopamine, right, in the dog's body, and dopamine with probably norepinephrine will make the dog move towards the object. Okay, so the second group of emotions make you distance yourself from the object. It will make you either freeze or run. Okay, by the way, the emotion of anger is an emotion of approach as well. When you're angry, you want to move towards the object and either destroy object or subordinate the object or do something with the object. Okay, so emotions of distance These are shame, guilt, fear, right? And pretty much every other negative emotion that I didn't mention before. So this is how you understand how emotion influence behavior or action, right? Another emotion is an emotion of repulsion. That's the emotion of distancing yourself from an object. So if you want people, go ahead and make things happen. You need to make them feel a certain way. They either gotta feel interest or love or anger. That's pretty much it. So the first principle of MCP is that you need to modify emotion if you need an action to happen. Or if you want to stop doing something, you need to modify emotion as well. Now, how do we modify emotions? And the only way to modify emotion is through our thinking. And this is the basic premise of cognitive behavioral therapy, that every thought will create a certain emotion, and emotion will create behavior. So to change someone's feelings, we need to change someone's thinking process. And the way you change someone's thinking process is through 3 steps. You make them aware of what they think. You make them abandon what they think. And you help them find a new model of thinking. The reason we call this practice metacognitive, and meta can be translated as about. So we teach our coaches and therapists to discuss or to think about clients' thinking, not about clients' words, not about clients' content, not about clients' feelings, but about clients' thinking, about clients' cognition. So about cognition is metacognitive or meta thinking. Okay? Now, why programming? So we want to change the behavior permanently. So we need someone to start behaving in a new way. And the way you start behaving in a new way is by thinking new thoughts every new day. Okay? So we need to train our clients to think differently. And we use what is called neuroplasticity for our clients to accept new ways. And this what the MCP about. And the MCP, the promise, the overall promise of metacognitive programming is that currently the program, the mental program you're using is not effective for your life. Because you see, if you don't have fermi in your life, the reason you don't have fermi is because your behavior is not effective. The reason your behavior is not effective is because you're not feeling proper emotions for that behavior. And the reason you do not feel proper emotions is because your thinking model is not efficient for that. So if we give you a better model, if we help you find a better model, you will be able to change your behavior and you will find what you're looking for in your life. And that's the promise. Now, this approach is incredibly effective. My company today is conducting 1,000 plus sessions every week. We have thousands of clients. We certified almost 1,000 of coaches. And our goal is to have MCP as a golden standard on every continent of life coaching and psychotherapy.
How does somebody become a life coach or get trained for metacognitive programming if they are already a psychotherapist?
Yes, it is great if they are already serious about this work. Because there was something in the first place that attracted them to join the profession, right? And if they already were certified as coaches, life coaches, or psychotherapists, that just shows me that they are very serious about this profession and they want to progress. It takes them 12 months to train with me directly. Normally, I'm taking small groups and I'm training these groups myself, plus my coaches, my master coaches. We train and we teach and we make sure that they have enough practice. And in 12 months, they are able to do three things. They're able to work one-on-one using MCP modality. They are able to work as facilitators in group settings with MCP modality or through MCP modality. And they are changing the approach to business coaching as well, because we teach them how to coach businesses as well, but only for those who want to take that as their next steps. Okay. But, for in years of our practice and, the life of the company, pretty much every coach we certified became a very, very successful coach. Because the way we approach things, the way we teach is so incredible and unique that they become very, very rare coaches once they graduate. And we don't take many. We try, for example, this year, we're probably going to take 20 coaches only to train. And I choose and I interview them personally. And we normally accept 10 to 15%. And in 12 months, we certify only 45%. So those who want to join us, they need to understand in advance that we do not promise certification in the end. But if they got certified, it pretty much means they are one of the best in the world.
Very interesting. And I love how you are kind of leading the way in the world of life coaching, partially by establishing a credential that's very hard to get.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You don't always see that amount of rigor or challenge in becoming a life coach, right?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I had a conversation the other day and she basically told me, oh, I'm a life coach now. And I'm like, oh, really? So where did you train? And she's like, oh, I went to this place and we got trained over the weekend. I'm like, okay, that's the problem.
Yeah. It's very common in the fitness world too, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Very common. And it's hard to discern who is qualified and who is continuing their education. So let's just talk about that a little bit more, your program. So first off, where should people be going if they want to find out more about the program?
So they need to set up an interview with me.
Okay.
We have a new batch starting in the end of May.
Okay.
And I can give you my contact information.
Sure.
So probably it's going to be my team who will be setting up the interview with me. There will be a few questions before the interview. And then once they come for the interview, they will have to coach me. Now, they don't need to be licensed or certified. They just need to have a common sense. And I will give them a problem and I will see how their mind works. The interview will take max 20 to 25 minutes. And I will tell them right away if they're a good fit for the program. Okay. If not, I will recommend something else. Once they pass the interview, we will set up 3 things for them. So number 1 is their group, where they're going to be supervised and where they will be practicing the material. Also, when to come for lectures, and the lectures are generally live. And this is like every week. And who is their partner, with whom they will be, working together. So generally, it takes between 5 and 7 hours every week for 12 months. There will be practicums as well. And the practicum is when we get together for a week and we work nonstop until we see that their level of understanding progresses really fast. What also is interesting is that if you got certified, it's pretty much guaranteed that you're going to get a job. It's either, if you want to get a job, because we'll also teach them how to build their own business as a coach. But if they want to get a job, we will give a blind offer with 60K as an annual salary, and they can start working for our company.
That's amazing. And I love, how much faith you have in your own program, especially in a marketplace that's seeing, kind of an influx of life coaches and people with these weekend certifications, as you said. Should people visit thinkmeta.ai to find out more?
So thinkmeta.ai is not the platform for coaches.
Okay.
Yeah. So for now, we have, I think actually it is on ThinkMeta. So we have our landing page for the program on ThinkMeta, but I will send you the link.
Wonderful. We'll put that in the show notes.
And you can share that. And then there will be a button so how they can schedule an interview. And then I hope to see someone from your audience, to join us, because that's going to be the best decision of their lifetime, I promise.
Yeah, I think more and more fitness coaches, especially in the nutrition side, are understanding that it's not the workouts that you give somebody, it's the behavior that you create that ultimately determines
Absolutely.
success. And now I understand you're not just giving people advice, but you're actually reprogramming their brain and their thought process. It's brilliant. So Misha, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure people are going to reach out to you with questions or just, general interest. But this has been really enlightening for me. And I've got 3 pages of notes and sticky notes and everything here.
Awesome.
So thank you so much for helping us out.
Chris, I appreciate for inviting me to the show. I loved your questions and hope to talk soon.
Thanks, man.